What's going on, guys? It's your boy Brent Lohmer. Want to talk to you about eating slow today. So one of those things where, when it comes to calorie control, you might not even really consider it as something that's important or of any value. But when you start looking at some of the research, certainly on eating slow and its effect on your health, start to say, hey, maybe there's something to this. So when we start looking at eating slow, what's the actual benefits of eating slow? Well, actually, you do end up taking in less calories. You do end up feeling less indigestion. You do end up feeling better about yourself. And it's just a great way to kind of take yourself out of that like busy world, that busy life that you inhabit, where you're running around, chasing around kids, when you're working, you're running home, walking the dog, you know, taking, getting supper ready. It's a lot of stuff, right? Like it's a lot of stuff to consider, and everything's going by really, really fast. And eating fast is just one more thing that's fast in your life. So it's nice to like take the time to slow down, even just from like a meditative or a spiritual perspective, right? So let's look at kind of why, a little bit more in depth as to why you want to eat slow. So we know that actually it takes about 20 minutes for you to detect any sort of fullness in your body. So you eat food. I could cram a lot of food in my mouth in 20 minutes, right? Before I actually detect fullness. Your body knows, right? Like your body knows how much it needs, how much it wants, what's necessary to maintain or change the body or change your body composition. So if you take less than 20 minutes to eat a meal, or if you eat it really, really fast, chances are you're eating beyond your fullness level, and there's more potential that you could gain some fat. So very, very important in terms of detecting fullness and sensing satisfaction. The other thing we need to look at is actual indigestion. So when you eat, it actually starts the digestion process when you put food in your mouth. So there's some enzymes in your mouth that start to break down the food, and if they spend a little bit more time in your mouth, then you end up breaking down the food to a little bit greater extent, right? So the digestion is a little bit more substantial when it actually gets into your gut. Cool, right? Okay. Other reasons, we talked about calorie control. So calories, a lot of times people are counting calories and doing all this fancy math and crazy math just to get in their calories for the day or count their calories for the day. But we're finding that that's may not be the best bet. Calorie estimates for certain foods can vary by up to 25%. So even if you're meticulously and carefully tracking your calories, you could be off by up to 25%. So another way to get about this whole calorie control thing, we got a couple other methods for that, and stay tuned for other videos to check that out. But the way that we can get at this calorie control thing is eating slow, right? Because if you detect fullness by eating slower, then you're less likely to eat food. One study done at the University of Rhode Island had people, gave them spaghetti and then said, kind of eat as fast as you can, as much as you want. And people ate it in like 9 minutes. 9 minutes, they ate, I think it was like 401 calories or something like that worth of pasta. And then they had people eat slow, took 29 minutes to eat the pasta. They ended up eating 67 less calories. That's one meal, right? So you extrapolate that out, 67 calories times 4 meals a day, that's 180 calories a day potentially, 180 to 240 or whatever. So when you start looking at that, you're like, oh, well, that's a pretty easy way that I can kind of control my calories, just by not really changing what you're eating, but changing how you're eating. So that's a really cool way that you can go about that. Also, they find that people that eat slower actually drink more water when they're eating. So more satisfaction with your meal, and then potentially eating less because of the volume of water that you're taking in, as well as being more hydrated as a result of drinking that water in between bites. So when it comes down to it, lots of reasons why, but I think people have a pretty good understanding that they should eat slow. They shouldn't eat really, really fast. How do you do this? So we have a couple cool strategies that we like. Certainly putting your fork down between each bite is beneficial. So just chow down, have a little bit, and then put your fork down. and then chew it, and then pick your fork up and do it again. That's one of my favorites. I certainly like it quite a bit. Some people find chewing in between, chewing a certain number of times between or with each bite is beneficial. Certainly distraction-free eating. I know that eating in front of the TV, eating while you're doing something on your phone can take you away from actually knowing whether or not you're full. So distraction-free eating is certainly valuable as well. Having higher fiber foods is certainly beneficial because it takes longer to chew. So you'll end up, eating a little bit slower just because of the food that you're eating. So there's some great ways that you can go about that. One of my favorites is from one of my guys, and he's a dad. He's got a couple kids. He's got 3 kids, and he actually chews, like takes a bite, and then he'll ask one kid a question about their day, and then he'll listen to the answer, take another bite, ask another kid something about their day, and it's awesome. It's just a great way to not only connect with your family, but also slow down your eating, take in less calories, and just feel better about how you're eating, and possibly getting some meditative spiritual benefits from it as well. So he really likes that method. I love that method, asking a kid a question in between each bite, asking your spouse a question in between each bite. Certainly helps. One of the things people find is that it's kind of awkward eating slow because you're always the last person to finish eating. I talk to people in between bites, and I ask them about their days, much like this client did with his kids. I ask people about what's going on in their life, and what's firing them up, what are they excited about, what are they grateful for, whatever things they got going on in their life. And then I have a little bite, and then I ask something else, and then I have a bite, and I ask something else, and I end up eating slow, but it looks like I'm eating slow because I'm talking to people, so it looks like I'm just social, and that's the outcome of me being social is I'm eating slower, so it doesn't look as awkward. So that's another way that you can get about it as well. So we love eating slow. Man, I feel so much better when I eat slower. People are more satisfied with their meals. They detect fullness a little bit better hunger and appetite awareness, and it puts you on that journey to getting that body that you want, making those changes in your body. Sometimes it's not counting calories. I'm not judging people that do. They can be off by up to 25%. It's totally fine if you, but it does bring a lot of awareness to how you're eating. But sometimes it's just slowing down and having a little bit better grasp on the food that you're putting in your mouth and the speed at which you're putting food in your mouth. So, you know what? It doesn't have to be a complete overhaul. You could just make one small little change. Maybe put your fork down. Try that tonight. Maybe even set a timer, right? Set a timer for 10 minutes, right? Normally it takes you 9 minutes. Set the timer for 10 minutes. Next night, set it for 11, and just kind of build your tolerance up that way. But it doesn't have to be a complete overhaul. Any step in the right direction is a step toward progress. Okay, so try it out, guys. Let me know how it goes. Love to hear your feedback. As always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you again soon.